Right, guys, we got another story here that proves we live in a joke of a country. This time, of course, it's not really up to the government, though they are still to blame in some ways. In this case, it's Labour London doctors going against NHS guidelines and obvious common sense to do something that they shouldn't be doing. But then again, since they are doing this for imported Labour voters, doctors, engineers and nurses, really, we shouldn't be surprised that it's happening. Because apparently more than 200 illegal immigrants staying in the Crown Plaza Hotel near Heathrow have been given the jab early. This whole shit show was likely down to lefty Labour doctors putting these people first because obviously that would be the woke thing to do, and we know that's what Labour love. But at the end of the day, I hold the government responsible for it also because they let the people into the country. They are running the show, the buck obviously stops with them, but these lefty Labour doctors should be sacked instantly if you ask me, if not suspended, at least for a little while. Now, it doesn't even really matter how you feel about the jab itself or anything to do with it. At the end of the day, this sort of shit show shouldn't be happening, but considering we live in the UK, I'm not surprised in the slightest. Now, before we continue talking about the laughingstock of a country we live in, remember to follow me on Odyssey and BitChute that will be linked down below, along with my other social media channels. Odyssey also now has an iOS app, which makes it easier to use the platform. You can download that from the iOS store directly. But let's get back to the video and the bullshit going on near Heathrow. The Sun's article on this headlines, more than 200 migrants staying in Crown Plaza quarantine hotels near Heathrow get COVID jab early. Which obviously the headline for that is already wrong before we get started because it says 200 migrants when it should obviously say 200 illegal immigrants. That is what they are. Shit, you could actually stretch it to illegal economic migrant, but just migrant, no, it's never going to be that at the end of the day. It says around 80 of the asylum seekers currently being put up in the Crown Plaza Hotel near London's Heathrow were eligible for the jab, but 240 who were given the life-saving vaccine were not in the top 4 priority groups, the Daily Mail reports. This includes all over 70s, extremely vulnerable individuals, care home residents and staff, along with frontline healthcare workers. The jabs were reportedly administered by local GPs who made the choice to vaccinate all migrants, not just those in the priority groups. This was not signed off by London NHS or the Home Office, the newspaper reports, so these lefty Labour doctors have literally just took the piss here. How are they still in their positions? Members in their own local community could well have needed this or wanted this and now are going to have to wait because they decided to give it to 240 people who had no right to it. And let's be honest, 95% of these 240 people are likely to be younger than me and you. It says the government has branded the move completely unacceptable and said the NHS was taking steps to make sure it didn't happen again. How the fucking hell are they going to do that? If some lefty Labour-loving doctor in his NHS surgery that has literally no patients going into it decides to do it, then this is what will happen. I really don't understand what they think the incompetent shitweasels at the NHS are actually going to do. They're more likely to make it a policy to continue doing this. Most of them are going to be Labour-loving doctors, let's be honest. We've already seen this by every single doctor that the BBC, Sky News or any of the other media channels get on there to talk about this bullshit. It's never about factual information, it's just about party political bollocks and of course the Labour lefty-loving tosspots and their virtue signalling. It goes on, a spokesman added, "We've closely followed the advice of scientific experts on the independent JCVI. And our first priority is vaccinating the most vulnerable people in society along with those who care for them, as this will save the most lives. It is totally unacceptable for anyone to ignore this guidance and set their own rules, and we know the NHS in London is taking action to ensure it does not happen again." Well, personally, I reckon the only way you're going to do that is if you start sacking the fuckers who did it. But let's be honest, they ain't going to do that, are they? So they'll just get away with it, and no doubt I expect this is happening around the country. It goes on, some migrants who have been vaccinated said they were not even aware there was a queue. Abdul, who entered the UK from France 7 months ago, said it's important that we don't catch the virus and get sick. While a Sudanese man, 27, said the vaccinations were given to us, whatever our age. We didn't have to pay for them, we were told to queue up for them at the hotel. None of us want to catch the coronavirus. Which obviously shows to me that this is some do-gooder lefty Labour-loving tosspot doctor that has done this. 27 years old and obviously some other young guy that don't need it have been given it for no fucking reason, really. The principle here is that NHS doctors are just taking the piss out of the people in the country. What about people in the area who actually wanted this jab? That is the problem I really have here. It said Sir David Sloman, Regional Director of the NHS in London, said the NHS vaccinates in line with JVCI guidelines to ensure the most at risk from the coronavirus are vaccinated first. While this was a rare but unacceptable breach of protocols, we are speaking to the GPs who took this decision independently to ensure it does not happen again. The illegal immigrants are currently being housed by the government at the Crown Plaza, where rooms normally cost £100 a night. This differs from the hotels being used for travellers flying in from the 33 red list countries from Monday. They will have to pay £1,750 for accommodation transfers, food and drink to quarantine in the guarded hotels. Yeah, and if they don't, they'll get 10 years in prison. While these illegal immigrants are put up for free in £100 a night hotels, given mobile phones allowed to do pretty much whatever they fucking want. This shit just takes the piss. It goes on there about the vaccine amnesty bullshit that I covered the other day. Let's be honest, there's already an amnesty in place, as I said then. The government lets them in, gives them homes, does all of this, and doesn't kick them out. That's an amnesty in all but name. And that's the end of it there. Well, this is a complete load of bollocks, obviously. There will be people in the area that really want this jab, sitting there terrified in their homes because of the government and the BBC. You then have Labour lefty-loving tosspot doctors doing this complete shit. What a piss take they really are. But in all honesty, these are Labour doctors. I suppose we shouldn't be surprised. It is still rather annoying that they're just blatant with it. You heard in that some tosspot saying that this is a rare case. I really expect it's not. I bet it happens in every single major city all over the country. Shit, I expect there's 200 doctors doing it in London as we speak.